Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be all about higher end makeup. I am going to finally be sitting down and sharing with you guys my favorite makeup products, but specifically higher end makeup. This is my second time filming this video because I decided to not watch myself and it only filmed half. So we're going to try this again. I am going to talk to you guys specifically about higher end makeup products. This is all bought from Sephora and Ulta, and I have finally built my collection to a point where I can actually share a decent amount of products with you guys. So that is what we are doing today. So if you want to see some of my higher end makeup products, then please keep watching. We are going to start out with how I do my makeup. Like, we are going to go from primer to the next step as I do my face normally. So I'm just going to start out with primers, and then we're going to work our way down the list. So primers. I have 3 primers here that I feel like are always my go-to primers. Now, I have always said before that I like hydrating, dewy types of looks, but I don't have a specific dewy or hydrating primer that I have found that is like a holy grail for mine. I really want to try that Smashbox Primerize, I forget what it's called, but it's the hydrating one. A lot of people use that one and I really need to try that. But I do have the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer that I have used. This is my second tube of this. I started out with the little travel size one, and now this is my second one, and I bought the big one. And this is an oil-free primer, and I feel like this is just the perfect neutral primer for any skin type. It does what it says basically. It's a photo finish primer, and I feel like it makes your skin that like photograph ready type of skin that you're looking for. I feel like it fills in pores, it smooths it out, it blurs, it just does everything all in one. Then moving on to the next one that I have, which is basically almost the same thing, but this one to me is a little bit different, and I will tell you why. This is the Cover FX Blurring Primer. This one to me is a little bit different because it's the actual tone, like the skin tone of skin, like it's a nude shade. It's not clear like this one. I feel like that does give it a nice effect on the skin because I feel like it fills in my pores a little bit more, and it literally does blur out any texture you have. I kind of focus this one right here on my nose and on my forehead and my chin. I don't put it all over my entire face, whereas this one I do. This one I focus in specific areas. I have mixed the two together, and I think they work just as well together. And I also mix them with something else. I mix them with the MAC Strobe Cream. This is like a holy grail of mine. I think this is what adds a lot of dewiness and natural glow to the skin. I put this underneath my foundation, underneath my primers, mixed in with my primers, mixed in with my foundations, absolutely everything. On top of foundations, you can use this for absolutely anything, and I think it gives that perfect natural glow and dewiness that a lot of people like, and that is personally like one of my favorite things, and this is where I get that a lot, is with this product here. It works perfectly on my skin, and it works with a lot of skin types. And this one is in the shade Gold Light. And I'm still on my first bottle of this. It has a lot of product in here. A little goes a long way, but I tend to use like a nice dollop amount on my skin. The other primer that I have used for probably the past 2.5, 3 weeks since I've gotten it, I've used it in my last 2 videos. This is the Touch in Sol No POREblem Primer. This primer is so velvety. That's exactly how they describe it too. It is so velvety. It is just perfect. It fills in my pores, it blurs it out. I feel like I like pore filling, blurring, smoothing primers. Those are my like favorite types of primers. I have a bunch of other primers, but these I tend to go back to the most. And I've just been loving this ever since I started using it, so I just had to mention it because it gives that perfect effect on the skin as well as the other ones. So I had to add that in. Next, we will be talking about foundation. I have 3 foundations that I feel like I can say are amazing higher end foundations. I use 2 more than I use another one just because of my skin type, but I have this in my collection and I use it for the perfect reasons, and I will tell you why. I have, starting out, which is my second bottle of this is the Clinique Beyond Perfecting Foundation. Well, technically foundation and concealer, but this is my absolute favorite foundation. I feel like this is one of the first higher end foundations that I bought, and it actually worked perfectly for what I wanted. It's like an everyday, it's a evening wear, it's a whatever you want it to be. This foundation works so well, and I think it's because it's like a universal, like neutral type of foundation, if you get what I'm saying. It's like, it's not dewy, it's not hydrating, it's not mattifying, it's like just a basic like satin finish, and you can mattify it, you can hydrate it, like you can kind of do what you want with it. That's why I think I like it so much. Of course, I always go towards the dewier side, but if you're someone that likes mattifying, you can definitely do that with this. Of course, with setting powders and things like that and what you put under it. But I love the little applicator of this. This is just like the Tarte Shape Tape. It is so easy to apply. It blends out super well. I love this with a really nice dense brush or with a beauty blender. I don't like it more so with a fluffier foundation brush. I like it with a really nice compact dense brush. This is just, I have loved this ever since I bought it. Second bottle, like I said, and it is just perfect for my skin at least, and I feel like it would be perfect for a lot of skin types because it's such a natural looking finish. It's like an in-between. It's not matte, it's not hydrating. I love this foundation. Next, going into a more hydrating, in my opinion, for my skin type and how I apply it, foundation. This is the Lancome Ultra Wear Foundation. They have SPF 15 in this one. I do not know how to say that first part, and I'm not even going to try because I sound like an idiot. So I have had this for probably over 2 months now, 3 months, it's probably 2 months. And I have been using this nonstop. I do use this wisely because it is more expensive, obviously, but I love the finish of this foundation. To me, this is more of like a medium coverage. I tend to do like 2 coats of this when I put it on because the first one to me is still a little bit sheer for my liking, so I do add a little bit more to certain areas. But it is so comfortable wearing this. It's super lightweight. The way it applies to the skin, it's just, I love the lightweight finish to it, yet it looks natural, but your skin looks perfect when you wear this foundation, if that makes sense. It's like natural, but yet I get compliments when I wear this foundation. I don't know what it is, but they just are always like, oh, your skin looks so good. I don't know what it is about this foundation, but I always get compliments when I wear it. So I love this foundation. The next one, I had to learn to love this foundation. This is the Urban Decay All Nighter Foundation. I have this in the shade 2.5. When I got shade matched for it, they matched me to 2 or 1.5 or something like that, and I'm glad I went with this because those were super, super light. This is a waterproof, long wear liquid foundation. This to me is a very thick liquid foundation. Blends out super well with a brush. If you use a beauty blender, do one side at a time, because to me this is kind of like the Fenty Beauty one. I like the Fenty one also, but it dries quick. So I do like half of a face at a time if I use a beauty sponge. If you're using a brush, you can work quicker. This foundation is the only matte foundation that actually works for me because my skin is so dry. This does not sit in my dry patches. I do have to use certain primers. I can use the Smashbox primer, but I tend to use a more hydrating primer underneath. This does not set into my dry patches. It does not set into creases for me. I don't know what it is. And because it is waterproof, they're not kidding. This does not move after you set it. Whatever, you can wear this without setting it and it does not move. I don't know if it's because it's just super mattifying. Like, you could wear this out, jump in a pool, and it'll still be on your face. I don't know what it is. I've sweat in this foundation before, and it stays on the skin. So, this is the only mattifying one that I can say works for me. Does it say anything else on the back? Oh, it does say shake well before using, yes, because I have let this sit a little bit, and you have to shake this. Kind of like the Fenty one, you got to shake it up. I don't know if that's just matte matte foundations, but I also do like that it has the little pump top as well. Those are my favorite kind besides the little applicator itself. So I have that one mattifying foundation and the other two more universal and a more hydrating one. So those are my favorite higher end foundations that I have been loving for a year to the past couple months. I had to share those with you guys. Next is concealer. Concealers I have 2. Of course, you are already going to know the first one that I have. It is the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. Everybody loves this. Everybody I know uses this and loves it. I have never heard one person not like this. Of course, the applicator is my favorite part. I just love how fat it is, and it gets right up underneath my eyes, and it just gives you that perfect amount. You can go super, super full coverage, or you can put a little bit, and it's just perfect. I am in the shade Fair Neutral. I've never had an issue with this. It sets super well under my eyes, does not crease, and like I said, super full coverage. The next concealer I have is a more universal concealer. You can use it to conceal, to contour, to highlight, to retouch. It is a multi-use sculpting concealer. It is the Too Faced Born This Way concealer. I have this shade Swan. I got this one in a little bit more brightening shade because I wanted to use this more so to brighten. Same concept, has the Tarte Shape Tape. It has that doe foot applicator at the top, and I love this concealer as well. It is not as full coverage as the Tarte Shape Tape, but of course if you apply more then it will be, but I don't know, I feel like they're very comparable, but at the same time they give you a different type of look under your eyes. I use this one more so for brightening. I use this one for coverage and brightening because I do get a lighter shade, but more so I love the coverage of this one. So I feel like those two are my go-to higher end concealers. Then moving on to setting powders. I have two powders here. One is a translucent powder and the other one is an actual powder itself. This is the Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder. This is my second little guy of this one. I don't know why I don't buy the big one. I use it so much, but this is my second little one, and it does exactly what it says. It brightens. I use this specifically under my eyes and on my forehead and on my chin. Mostly under my eyes. There are days where I don't put it on my forehead or my chin, but I just love how bright this makes my under eyes. It does not make it look powdery. It does not make it look white. It just brightens and sets my concealer super, super well. So I love this. And then also I have the MAC Studio Fix powder. This one is in the shade C4. I have C2 also, which I use for when I'm more fair. C4 I use for when I am more tan, but I had more product in this one, so I figured I'd show it to you guys. It's a little compact, and it is obviously a skin tone of powder, and I feel like this I use mostly to set my entire face. I don't use it under my eyes. I'll use the translucent powders for under my eyes, and then I use this to set the rest of my face. This is the perfect type of powder if you have blemishes or red spots that you really, really want to disguise. This is perfect for that because I could put it on a little brush and kind of dab it over my foundation where I still have a little bit of, say, a blemish, and you can kind of see it. This instantly camouflages it. It just blurs it out, and I think that this is the best powder I have ever used in a while. I need to branch out and try new ones because this is literally the only one I use, but it is just that good. I feel like it sets the foundation super well, but yet it really camouflages things you don't want to be seen, but yet it hides redness. It just, I keep using the word blur, but it does. It kind of just smooths the skin out even more than what you're going for. So Studio Fix powder, I love it. Going into bronzer, and also I guess a little bit more of setting powders, you can say. This is the Kat Von D Shade and Light Contour Palette. I have hit pan on many inside this palette. This is still my first one, but the product that you get in this is definitely well worth the money. I don't remember how much this one is. I want to say 40 something. I don't remember. But I used the first two shades, obviously, for setting. I used this first one for my under eyes, and I miss it so much. I used literally all of it, but I used this to set my under eyes, and then of course I used the first two, the first one most, but I'm now branching out to the second shade to bronze and contour my face. The third shade I don't use as much. I use it when I'm more so tan because it is too dark for me, but this is just such a great contour palette to have. If you are somebody that does not do makeup often, you need this and only this. You will not need anything else. You get the perfect range of shades, and then that is it. If you are somebody that is a makeup artist, this is perfect to have too because it works for multiple skin types. So this is just such a great universal palette, I think, in my opinion. Next, I use the Tarte Pro Glow palette. This is also a contour highlight palette, and I use this mostly to bronze and contour. I use the last two for the most part, and I do use these two highlights more than I do these. The cream contour is the only cream contour I have ever been able to use. I've used the Anastasia cream contour palette before, and I have it, and I don't know what it is. It is super hard when I put it on my skin and I can't blend it out. I don't know if I need to mix it with like an oil or something like that, but this is the creamiest contour shade I have ever used before, and it just blends out super well with a brush, with a beauty blender, whatever you use, it really blends out well. But I love this shade. It's called Sculpt. This is the powder bronzer in this palette, and it's not too warm, it's not too cool, it's just a neutral brown tone to use when you're contouring or when you're bronzing, and I just love how it glides onto the skin, and it's super creamy, but it works really, really well. So yeah, these two contour bronzing palettes, those are my go-to favorites. So I'm going to do eyeshadow now because I do have a couple here. The first one that I have here I've used since the summer. This is the Urban Decay Born to Run palette. This palette is, once again, a universal palette, but these shades are beautiful. I love this palette so much. You get that pop of color, you get your neutral shades, you get your skin tone shades, you get blacks, you get greens, there's just a little bit of everything in here. It's got shimmers, it's got mattes, and then this mirror. You're kidding me. This mirror is ginormous. The mirror is what makes this palette really heavy, but this is a great palette to travel with. You get such a good range, shade range of color in here, and they are just super pigmented. Like this is one shade there. Even the breakaway shade, that bone skin color, like they are just super, super pigmented. The next palettes, I'm going to say palettes because I'm just going to group them all together, are the Anastasia Beverly Hills eyeshadow palettes. I have 3 out of, I don't even know how many there are now, but I have the Prism, the Soft Glam, and the Modern Renaissance palette. Modern Renaissance palette is the first one I owned from this collection of eyeshadow palettes, and I just feel like all 3 of these should just be recognized as a whole in my collection because I think that they are so creamy, so pigmented. You get such a wide variety of different kinds of shades. If you are looking for those pops of colors and different types of looks you want to create with it, this is the palette that will be for you, the Prism palette, because it's like, it's a funky palette to me. Like you do get browns, but then you get a really nice black, you get a really nice pop of yellow, orange, you get multiple different things in here. So I think that this is a great funky type of fun palette, the Prism one. Then you also have, of course, another neutral palette, but who doesn't love neutral palettes? This is the Soft Glam palette, and this one looks like this, and it is just a perfect soft glam, literally. Like that's what they were going for. Like you do get deep shades, but it is just a very soft, to me this is like something brides would go for. This is something somebody should use when they're doing bridal makeup because it is just, it's soft, it's natural looking, but yet you still get that glam that you're looking for. And you do get a little bit of pop of color with the rose shades that they have in here, but this is just a very neutral palette, but I love the colors in this as well. And then my very first palette that I've owned in this collection or line of palettes, I guess you could say, is the Modern Renaissance palette. And this one, to me, they were more focusing on like the pinky red side of things. You do get an orange, you get browns in here and more neutrals, but I just love the colors that are in this palette as well. And also what's nice is you get a mirror in each palette, and you also get a dual-sided brush. One is a fluffier end and the other one is a more compact, like smudger end, and I think that's really nice and well worth the money. I believe these are $45, I think, but I'm going to put everything down below if I'm wrong. But I think these are worth it as well. You do get 14 shades in here along with the little mirror and the brush. So I do think that it is worth the money for higher end eyeshadows. So all 3 of those as a whole are like one of my favorite higher end eyeshadow palettes. Now to my last eyeshadow palette, I do not know if it is considered drugstore or higher end, but I'm going to include it in this video because it to me is a higher end product because of the quality of it. This is the Jaclyn Hill Morphe palette from Morphe Brushes, and she worked super hard on this palette, and you can honestly tell that she did because These are the best eyeshadows I have ever used in my life, and the palette itself is insane. You get so many shadows in here. I don't even know how many shadows there are. You get so many shadows in here. If you're the type of person that is very minimalistic and does not want to own a lot of makeup, but you like makeup, this is the palette that you need. This comes with everything. You get color, you get blacks, you get neutrals, you get shimmers, you get mattes, you get absolutely everything. And the consistency of these eyeshadows are insane. So I feel like this palette is the only palette that anyone would need to own in their collection. If they needed one palette, it to me would be this one. I'd get rid of all the other ones and just take this one. If I had to decide, I would definitely do that with this one, because you can create so many different looks with this, and the pigmentation, the consistency, the blendability of all these shadows in here are just amazing. This is my favorite eyeshadow palette I have. I believe this is just my favorite one. So let's do highlight. I have 3 highlights here. My first and absolute favorite highlight palette that I own is this one here. It's one of the glow kits from Anastasia Beverly Hills, but this is the collaboration with Nicole Guerrero. The creaminess of these highlights and the glowy beautifulness that you get on your face, whatever you want to call it, it is just amazing from this palette here. I love the shade range. You get like 2 pink types, but this one is kind of just a neutral pink, and the other one is more of like a blush pink, but yet it's a highlight at the same time. You get 2 golden ones, you get a white, and then you get this really cool peach shade. This is probably the one I use the least, but the range of highlights in this palette as well is just, I love this highlight palette. The creaminess and the pigmentation is just insane. Like, it is, I have the Forever Lit and Glow Getter kind of mixed on my cheeks today. I don't know, yeah, there you go, a little bit. I used a very little bit, and it is super, super pigmented. A little goes a long way, but I love the dewy glowiness that this gives the skin. Then I have, which everybody is always raving about and always loving, this is the Amrezy Anastasia Beverly Hills highlight, but this is like the wettest, dewiest highlight I have ever owned, but yet at the same time, it's like a natural glow from within. I don't know what or how they made this, but this is just beautiful. I'm trying to see, there we go. It even looks wet in the packaging. And what I like about this one is that it works for so many different skin tones. That's what I like about it, because you can see it on all the different skin tones, and it's just super creamy, and it blends really nice with your finger, but it works really, really well with a brush as well. So I just love, love, love this. Next, I'm going to talk about brows. I'm going to be talking about the only 2 brow products I have ever used, basically, from higher end. Besides Benefit, I do like Benefit, but I have one pencil. I have their Goof Proof pencil, and it is too chunky for me. It's too thick. I like working with like more of a thinner pencil, which is the Anastasia Brow Wiz. This is just the best brow pencil I have ever used. I love the shade range that they have, and it literally matches perfectly with my eyebrows. I use the shade Dark Brown, also in the pomade. I have the dark brown shade in the pomade. I have used a generous amount, but you get so much product in here that it lasts a long time, and I still have no issue. Nothing's ever hardened up on me yet in here, and the pigmentation and the way that this applies to the brows is just great. The Brow Wiz, I love the spoolie, I love the pencil, and it doesn't tug at my hairs, whereas I found other pencils do. They like pull at my skin. This one just glides on super, super nice. And the Anastasia, the pomade one, this is more for like a bam, like a thicker, bolder brow. And then this, the Brow Wiz, is more so for like a natural, fluffy, everyday type of brow. But I do mix the 2 together as well. I'll use this on like the tail end of my brows, and then I'll use this towards like the front portion and fill in the rest. So it is great together or separate. Then moving on to lips. We have lips. I have 2 different brands here for lipsticks. I don't have too many higher end lipsticks. I don't have many lipsticks in general. I feel like I stick to the same ones. I need to branch out in my lipstick category for my makeup, but they're both mattifying and I have one gloss. This is the Bare Minerals. I don't know what these are called. I have the shade VIP and the shade Juicy, but I don't know exactly what these types of lips are. I know they are matte, but to me these are matte velvet lips. They do transfer and they do not completely dry. I feel like I have to apply these, you know, like a couple hours later or after I eat or drink, whatever. I do have to reapply some of this, but I love the way these feel on my lips. They do not chunk up. They are super, super creamy, very pigmented. This one, I'll swatch one on my hand for you guys. This one is the shade Juicy, and that is what that looks like on my skin. I have a red and a more pinker, like magenta shade. These two, I don't know, I just feel like I need to buy more of this. I need to get different shades because this is just the best, because I hate mattes that dry and like crack on my lips. This is like a creamy, satiny, velvety matte. I don't even know how else to describe it, but it's perfect feeling on my lips. It's very lightweight. It does not cake up at all, so I love these lipsticks from Bare Minerals. I need to figure out the name. I don't remember the freaking name. I'm forgetting. Then I have the Tarte lip paints. I have two matte lip paints here. I have the shade Front Row and Namaste, a very nude and then more of an orangey brown shade. Then I also have the Tarte lip paint in the shade Insta Famous, which this is like a gloss, but like a lip topper. I don't even know what you want to call it, but I love this line of lip paints from Tarte, and they are also matte, but they do not cake up. That is why I like them, because I feel like I have one Kylie Cosmetics one that my sister gave me that she didn't want anymore, and I feel like either I'm applying too much or it just dries and it just cracks within like a half hour and it like hurts. I hate mattifying ones that just dry up so fast and they crack on the lips. These sit super well. They dry up, but they don't transfer, and they last all day. I have worn this one so many times and I feel like there has not been a time that I've had to reapply it. So I love these lip paints from Tarte. I think that those are well worth the money as well. I have one mascara from Higher End that I use constantly over and over again. And I feel like it is the only one that I will ever go back to. This is the Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara. This is the regular one. I have used the waterproof one before, but the waterproof one does not come off. It dries onto my lashes and it is on for days, no matter what I use to try and take it off. No makeup wipe, no makeup remover, no face brush or face cleanser will get this off my face. So I always tend to stick to the regular one. This is like my third or fourth tube of it. I've used the minis, I've used the big ones. I have had so many of these. I just love the applicator of this one. I love the chunkiness of the applicator, but yet it doesn't get chunky on my lashes. It just fills them out, it makes them longer, and it just makes them look super full. So I love, love, love this mascara. Lastly, we have setting sprays. I have two setting sprays here. One is a more universal one. I feel like I'm using that a lot. Also, one is a more universal one, and one is just strictly a setting spray itself. First, I'll talk about the MAC Prep and Prime Studio Fix Powder. You can use this as a primer water. You can use this for your eyeshadow. You can use this to wet your beauty blender. You can use this to set. This is literally such a great product. This is my second bottle of this one. I love this product. If you spray your beauty blender or brush with it and then you use it with your foundation, it gives a really nice look to the foundation. If you feel like your skin is like super dry as you're applying your foundation, or the powder made it really dry, you spritz that on your face and you're good to go and you can continue doing your makeup. I use it to wet my eyeshadow brushes to really make shimmer shadows pop on my eyes. So it is just a universal spray for setting and for just using throughout your makeup. I think it is such a great product and well worth the money. The last item I want to talk about is the Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray. When I said that my Urban Decay All Nighter foundation did not move, partly it was because of this. I use this literally if I'm going to be gone all day. I use it just for a little while, but this keeps your makeup intact in place and does not move all day long. This is the small bottle. I've had the big bottle and I'm on my second small bottle right now. I don't know why I keep going for the little ones. I should just keep buying the big ones because I use them all the time. But this is the longest lasting, literally, it says on the bottle, long lasting, but this is literally the longest lasting setting spray I've ever used. I don't know what it is, what they put in it, it's like magic. It keeps your makeup in place, nothing moves. Eyeshadow does not move. Highlight, blush stays, and my blush tends to disappear after a little while. That's why I apply so much when I do. This will keep your blush on your face as well. That's also something I've noticed, but it just, and it's, is this? No. No, the foundation is waterproof. I was going to say this is waterproof. I don't know why this would be waterproof, but there's just something about this that is just so amazing. I love this setting spray, and I will always, always use it. So that is it for my higher end makeup favorites, and this is my first favorites video, and I'm really glad I have a lot in my collection to be able to share with you guys, and I feel like I picked out like my holy grail go-to favorite items for higher end products, and I like that everything I use is kind of universal. It's not solely focused on one thing or on another thing, and I feel like it's just something that I will get a lot of use of, and that's also what I look for, because obviously you're spending a lot of money on this stuff and you want something that you can use all the time and get your money worth, like I said, and be able to use all of the product. So I'm really glad you guys were able to hang out and see my favorite higher end makeup products. So I will see you guys all in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye.